The Philadelphia Eagles just got hit with a wave of news that could reshape the entire roster before Week 1. A new weapon has arrived in the form of John Mechie, a wide receiver who's already turning heads in midnight green. But with that excitement came the gut punch of fresh injury updates and positional battles that feel more intense than ever. This isn't just another camp update. This is the moment when jobs, futures, and maybe even the direction of the season are on the line. Training camp is winding down. The final preseason game is looming, and for dozens of players, their NFL dream hangs by a thread. The clock is ticking, and every snap, every rep, every mistake matters more than ever. Three battles in particular have defined this camp. At linebacker, Jair Campbell and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. have been trading blows, each showing flashes of starting potential. It's a duel that feels like it could shape the very heart of this defense. At safety, Sidney Brown and Andrew Mukuba are locked in a fight that's left coaches both excited and nervous. Mukuba just put on a show with a pick six and a fumble recovery, while Brown has been steady and reliable, proving he belongs. And then there's cornerback, the messiest, most unpredictable battle of them all. No one has separated from the pack, until recently. Out of nowhere, Jaquan Bennett has emerged, putting on a breakout performance that may have flipped the competition on its head. If he keeps rising, he could steal the starting job by Week 1. But where there's light, there's also disappointment. Just a few weeks ago, Kelly Ringo looked like the frontrunner. Now, he's slipping, losing first-team reps, dropping to the third unit, and even getting burned by undrafted rookie wideouts. For a player with elite tools and sky-high college pedigree, it feels like the dream is fading right before our eyes. This is the brutal reality of NFL training camp. Hope for some, heartbreak for others. And for the Eagles, the battles we're watching right now could decide whether this team enters the season flying high or grounded by uncertainty. Potential. That's the word that once defined Kelly Ringo. A freak athlete with size, speed, and raw talent, he looked like a player destined to seize a starting job. But potential only carries you so far, and this summer, it hasn't translated into production. While others are rising, Ringo is sliding. Tuesday's practice made it painfully clear. Adoree Jackson lined up with the starters again, Jaquan Bennett continues to climb, and Ringo was left on the outside looking in. The race he once led may already be lost. And that wasn't the only storyline Tuesday delivered. In fact, it turned out to be one of the longest, most grueling practices of camp, and it came with bruises, setbacks, and more than a few scares. A fresh wave of injuries hit the Eagles roster, the kind of list that makes fans hold their breath. Quarterback Tanner McKee sat out with a finger issue. Left tackle Jordan Mailata entered concussion protocol. Star receiver Devonta Smith was sidelined by a groin injury. Tight end Dallas Goedert was limited with the same. Big names, important names. Luckily, none appeared to be season-threatening, but even minor injuries sting this late in camp. Every missed rep feels magnified when the opener is just around the corner. And then there's A.J. Brown. The franchise's cornerstone receiver has been carefully eased back from a hamstring injury, the training staff refusing to rush him. He hasn't been on the field, but coaches say he hasn't checked out, staying locked in mentally, dissecting the playbook, sharpening his game in the classroom while his body heals. It's the kind of discipline that separates stars from the rest. Fans shouldn't panic yet. All signs point to him being ready for Week 1. But even the mention of a hamstring makes the city of Philadelphia nervous. Still, what truly rattled practice came when Johnny Wilson, one of camp's surprise standouts, went down. Midway through drills, he was rolled up on during a block. He limped off, grimacing, before disappearing into the medical tent. Moments later, the cart came out. Silence fell. Teammates looked on. That's the moment every player dreads. The line between chasing a dream and having it ripped away can vanish in an instant. Wilson had been stacking good days, turning heads, building momentum toward a roster spot. Now, his future hangs on the results of medical scans. It's a harsh reminder. In the NFL, opportunity comes fast, but it can vanish even faster. Tuesday's practice was supposed to be just another step toward the season. Instead, it became a day of shifting battles, rising anxiety, and painful uncertainty. Before his injury scare, Johnny Wilson was quickly becoming one of the most talked about stories of Eagles camp. The 6'6" receiver had already flashed in preseason against the Bengals, high-pointing passes and showing off the kind of length that makes defensive backs miserable. His performance didn't just catch the eyes of fans, it caught the respect of his teammates. When rookie running back Will Shipley was asked who he believed could shock people this season, he didn't hesitate. "Johnny Wilson," Shipley said. "He's just put his head down and worked. Every opportunity he's had, he's made something of it." That kind of praise means something in a locker room where players see every rep, every grind of sweat, every battle. It was a sign that Wilson wasn't just a camp body, he was a contender. And that's why the moment he went down, clutching his leg, carted off in silence, felt so heavy. The Eagles are hoping it's nothing serious. Philadelphia is hoping it's nothing serious. Because Wilson was becoming one of those surprise stories that give a team its spark. But he wasn't the only one facing injury heartbreak Tuesday. Rookie safety Andrew Mukuba, who had been carving out a name for himself with his aggressive playmaking, suddenly came up limping during a one-on-one drill. The trainers rushed in. He tried to fight through it, but his body gave out. A hamstring. The word alone sends a chill through coaches and fans alike. Those injuries linger, they nag, and they often rob young players of the rhythm they need most. The timing couldn't be worse. Mukuba is locked in one of the fiercest battles of camp with Sidney Brown for the starting safety job. And while Brown has been steady, reliable, and healthy, Mukuba has already missed time earlier this summer with a shoulder issue. Another setback, even just a week or two, could cost him the job before the season even begins. This league is unforgiving. Sometimes it's not about talent, it's about availability. Meanwhile, another underdog has quietly forced his way into the spotlight. With A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith sidelined, undrafted rookie Darius Cooper lined up with the starters. Think about that. An undrafted player stepping in with the first unit, catching passes where stars usually shine. For weeks, it looked like Cooper and Aeneas Smith were battling for one final roster spot. But Tuesday felt like a turning point. Cooper didn't just get thrown in for depth, he was trusted, featured, and given real opportunities. Reporters watching practice could sense it too. The whispers grew louder. Maybe, just maybe, Cooper has already made this team. If true, it would be one of the most remarkable camp rises of the summer, a no-name rookie forcing his way onto a roster loaded with offensive firepower. And if that wasn't enough drama, Tuesday carried one more headline: the long-awaited debut of John Mechie in Midnight Green. Just days after being traded to Philadelphia, the former Texans receiver finally took the field in an Eagles uniform. Fans had been buzzing about what he could bring, and now it was time to see it with their own eyes. Hope, heartbreak, and the unexpected, Tuesday had it all. And the Eagles' roster picture grew both clearer and more complicated in a single afternoon. When John Mechie stepped onto the field in Midnight Green for the very first time, there was a sense of quiet anticipation. Here was a player whose story has been defined by resilience, from overcoming injury setbacks to battling for a role in Houston, and now finding a fresh start in Philadelphia. His debut wasn't flashy, but it didn't need to be. He warmed up with crisp route work, catching passes on the sideline, and sharing a quick embrace with his former Alabama teammate Devonta Smith, now reunited on the same NFL roster. Later, he slipped into the team drills, working with the second unit. His highlight came when he darted up the seam, found a soft spot in coverage, and hauled in a 15-yard strike from Kyle McCord. Simple, effective, promising. For the first glimpse of Mechie in an Eagles uniform, it was exactly what fans wanted to see: confidence, speed, and that polished route running he's known for. Mechie's approach is humble but hungry. Asked about his role in Philadelphia, he kept it simple. All I can control is how I show up every day. I just want to bring something to the table and contribute to this team. That attitude matters. He knows he's not walking in as the star with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and a loaded receiver room ahead of him. Mechie is the fourth option right now. But he also knows opportunities can come in a flash, and versatility could make him invaluable. Depth wins championships, and his ability to line up across the formation, work special teams, and stretch the field gives the Eagles one more weapon in an offense already stacked with firepower. But while Mechie was making his quiet entrance, the Eagles' offensive leaders were having a rougher day. Jalen Hurts and the first-team offense struggled against a defense that smelled blood. With key receivers sidelined and the lineup patched together, the rhythm just wasn't there. Hurts still finished with respectable numbers, 18 completions on 24 attempts, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, but the miscues stood out. One touchdown came on a quick strike to tight end E.J. Jenkins near the goal line. Another came off a crafty shovel pass. But the interception was the moment everyone remembered. A throw Hurts wanted back, forced towards Saquon Barkley, but read perfectly by Nolan Smith. The rookie linebacker jumped the route and snatched it clean, a statement play that turned frustration for the offense into a highlight for the defense. That's the paradox of training camp. For every bad offensive rep, there's a defensive player making his mark. For every turnover that stings a quarterback, there's a young defender proving he belongs. Nolan Smith's pick was exactly that, a reminder that the Eagles' defense is loaded with hungry playmakers ready to step into the spotlight. In the end, it was another day where the defense won more battles than the offense. Injuries have slowed the attack, chemistry is still being built, and the pieces are still shifting. But that's camp. These are the growing pains that forge teams. And in the middle of it all stands John Mechie, a reminder that new energy, fresh legs, and untapped potential can arrive at just the right moment. His first steps as an Eagle may have been small, but they could be the beginning of something much bigger.